Ink. Linear abstraction.
Which, as usual, concludes the final hour of the weekly generalized staff and unfavored management address. Notes from this week's address will be mailed, at your expense, to your quarters. Now, a brief word from Dilara, Underchair of the Extracurricular and Lower Morale Department.
I'm here to proudly and enthusiastically announce that tomorrow is once again the time of the People's Artistic Showcase. One lucky crew member will get the chance to display their artistic talent for the entirety of the ship to mandatorily enjoy. The nominees, entirely chosen by subordinates this cycle, are as follows. Starboard Porthole Supervisor Hank, engaging in a series of war chants from recently incorporated planets. TMO from Hospitality Waste Management Training Supervision, reading a letter pleading for their children to be returned from the financial institution that owns them in perpetuity. And Bethany, from the General Data Acquisition and Storage Department, reading a piece of speculative pulp fiction that they've been working on. Voting is mandatory and will occur over the next 2 to 5 minutes, depending on your particular voting allowance. Voting has now begun.
Jonas, do you happen to know the penalty I would get for strangling you?
No.
Me either. But I'm about to be an expert on that particular penalty. Do you know why?
So, I'm guessing you heard the announcement.
Do you not see my dumb little sticker, Jonas? It was a mandatory vote.
Look, I'll be honest, it seemed like a bad idea at the beginning, but I pushed through that because I knew there was a reason I wanted to do it.
Hold on. You knew it was a bad idea.
You love the folder. It's the only part of the job you've ever liked, besides me, of course. And this is your chance to share it with the universe and not get in trouble.
Jonas, have you ever heard the term crippling fear of public speaking?
Could you use it in a sentence?
Jonas, I have a crippling fear of public speaking.
Okay, but what if we thought of it as public reading instead?
I swear, by every 2-bit planet we've ever incorporated, I swear, if this actually happens for some reason, Jonas, look at me in the eyes and listen to me, Jonas.
And our winner, with exactly 39% of the total vote, Bethany from that one department I said earlier. Congratulations, Bethany from that one department. We all look forward to hearing that artistic nonsense tomorrow. Anybody who refrained from voting, your wages have been garnished appropriately.
This is an awkward pause, not an excited pause, right? If it helps...
What helps, Jonas?
I don't know. I kind of thought I'd have an ending For that sentence, by the time I needed one...
But you didn't, did you?
No, I didn't.
That really says it all, doesn't it?
File request made. Genre, depressant. Subgenre, historical. Subgenre, nostalgic and/or melancholy. Name, redacted. Date of recording, redacted. Suggested use, to be played softly in the quarters of restless and/or overworked crew, just as general blackout orders are issued. Studies have shown a 27 to 32% reduction in desire to change and/or work against the established system. Instead, spending that energy on mourning the ability for any of us to transcend the power structures we occupy without destroying ourselves.
I met a voyager from an antique star. 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 Voyager from an antique star.
This piece of blatant emotional manipulation was brought to you by the Mental Innovation Colonies. Mental Innovation. Ask yourself, how can ME work for me?
Figured it out, Jonas.
You know what you're gonna read tomorrow?
Nope. In fact, I'm still hoping that I might be involved in some sort of industrial level accident or fall in a new hole or something before I have to deal with that. No, I've discovered why it's so difficult to stay mad at you.
So you're saying you're not mad?
I said difficult, not impossible. Jonas, you're like one of your ferns.
Thank you. Why?
It's very difficult to be mad at something when it keeps your expectations incredibly low.
Well, how's this for low expectations? While you've been procrastinating your story picking by doing things like your job and my job and assorted other tasks that have been assigned to us, I've been pulling a few stories for you to choose from.
So now I'm not only doing this against my will, but I'm also reading one of your favorite stories too?
No, I really tried. I got some things I thought you'd like, and then some things I thought you might like to say, or something like that, and then just a couple fun ones. I just thought that a few million entries would be tough to go through before tomorrow, but a couple dozen might be manageable.
And you're telling me that you didn't stack this with your favorites?
I mean, I like all the entries, really. And yeah, there might be one or two in there that I couldn't resist adding in, but there's still ones I bet you enjoy.
I'd appreciate this more if this wasn't entirely your fault.
Oh, come on. What have I ever done that makes you think that... Okay, you know what? Don't answer that. I did a nice thing, and I'm not going to have that ruined.
But why did you have to do that nice thing, huh?
There will be no more discussion of the past. I think it's unhealthy. It's time for us to live in the present and look to the future, because therein lies our path.
I think that's a load of crap.
I don't think that language belongs in the workplace.
I'm pretty sure you don't belong in the workplace, Jonas.
See? We can totally agree on things.
It's so easy and yet so difficult to be mad at you. I'm gonna power through though anyways, because I'm a champion. I just wanted you to know.
Just read and choose something. You don't have time to be upset now. That's for future Bethany to cope with.
Future Bethany is going to mix their anxiety meds with something intoxicating before taking them intravenously because of everything you've done today. And Future Bethany also wants you to try to fit your head into your most uncomfortable orifice.
Future Bethany sounds kind of cool, and I'd like to be invited to any future parties you throw.
Future Bethany parties alone.
Request made. Genre, personally impactful. Subgenre, communication with a stranger. Subgenre, strangely hopeful. Name, redacted. Date of recording, redacted. Suggested use, 1, redacted. 2, awaiting possible redaction. Note, recording is no longer in active use on 95.2% of all ships with a crew of over 8,000 individuals, but has gained a sizable underground popularity on at least half a dozen in-system planets.
I could just lie down and look up at the stars back then. Not like now, with the haze and the anxiety and everything. I could just be there for a while. I could just fool myself into believing tomorrow might not come and I could let go of the past for a few minutes and just look at the stars. I don't know the last time I just looked at something without thinking about something else. It's a shame that it always takes a calamity, right? It just doesn't fit. Because the stars are beautiful right now. Despite everything else, the stars are really beautiful. And that's what I want to look at. And it seems, I don't know, wrong Maybe we're just broken. Maybe it makes sense in the stars somewhere. That'd be nice.
This piece of personal learning was brought to you by the Mental Innovation Colonies. Mental Innovation. Ask yourself, how can ME work for me?
Can and will be punished with a temporary bone lengthening. To repeat, welcome to the annual People's Artistic Showcase. This is to be counted as your break for this shift, so as always, no work may be done, but no productivity can be lost. Remember, breaks are a right for now, and such things can and will be changed and codified in the legal record if need be. Anyone observed not enjoying and thoroughly contemplating the artistic offerings of the address both can and will be punished with a temporary bone lengthening. To begin, Hank, the starboard porthole supervisor, engaging in a series of war chants from the recently incorporated Danica system. As you'll remember, Hank was not chosen by the vote, but Hank did throw an absolute fit about it. And the whole porthole supervisory board was very moved by Hank's emotional state. So when you put that all together, well, here we go. Take it away, Hank. You sure earned it.
Which one did you pick? Was it 17? I'll bet it was 17.
Jonas, you cannot be here right now. This is the worst time and place for you to be.
You found one. You sound like you found one. Now, if you had to put a number value on that one you found, like I kindly provided when I gave them to you, what would it have been?
Jonas, my stress level is high enough that I'm praying something in me pops just to release some of the pressure. What do you want?
The number! I thought that was kinda obvious.
Why, Jonas?
Because I was hinting pretty hard about the number.
Why do you want the number?
You sound angry.
Jonas.
I have a little bet going.
You gamble now?
Hey, I'm a great gambler.
Gambling for money is incredibly illegal on this ship.
I'm not even playing for money, so there.
What are you playing for then?
Dignity.
Jonas, we work together. I know how much dignity you have, and you can't afford to lose anymore.
No, it's fun. Whoever loses has to get a tattoo of the other one's name going all the way across a butt cheek.
So your best outcome here is your name on somebody's butt?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Sometimes I think it's the age, but other times I think we're two very different people. You know that?
Yeah, I'm an idiot. We all know it. So, about that number again.
Why do you need to know? Just wait, and you'll both hear it at the same time.
'Cause the bet's with Hank, and they're doing really good out there, and you know how high and mighty they get when something goes right for them.
They are doing really good out there, huh?
Yeah! See, I need this. I just need to know so I can prepare myself.
Well, tough. I suffer, you suffer. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go get a breath of fresh air from the vending machine before I pass out from extremely, almost unhealthy contained terror and social awkwardness. If you're here when I get back, I might hit you. I'll feel bad for it later, but it's definitely a possibility.
That's not helpful at all.
It sure feels helpful to me.
boom.
And there we have it, folks. Surprisingly heartfelt. I don't think any of us really anticipated what that was going to be. I think we all owe you an apology, Hank. There's not a soul aboard this vessel that wasn't changed by what they just heard. Now, to follow that moment of pure and absolute beauty and catharsis. Bethany. From the General Data Acquisition and Storage Department, with their storybook, or whatever it is. Come on in, Bethany.
Good luck!
I'm in hell, and you're the devil!
That's the spirit!
Hi. Hello. I generally acquire data and store it in various places. I'm gonna tell you a story today. It won't be too long, so don't worry. Also, yeah, Hank, that was really good. Nice job. Never really spoken to this many people before, but it's just a little bit. I'm gonna start. There was, on a distant planet in a distant galaxy, a scientist-type being who went a little insane. This being began pondering how life deals with complete emotional upheaval. This being had also recently lost its mate to another being of what the scientists considered lower status, which might have influenced the pondering. Another, possibly stronger, influence might have been the several intoxicating beverages consumed throughout the days and weeks following the mate loss. Either way, whether it was the sadness or the intoxicants or the desire to find out what it's all about when you really get down to it, the scientists took themselves to a remote island and built a large cube.
It was your typical science cube. Places to interface, experiment-ready countertops, hot and cold running contaminant showers. The scientist being knew what it was doing. It brought all the specialty provisions that it needed and set to work creating the most neutral artificial intelligence that it could. It took 12 years of work, extremely long-term planning and preparation, making everything inside the cube just so, perfecting the world the AI was about to wake up into. And the scientist being adjusted the atmospheric controls so that they would slowly make the air toxic and unbreathable over the course of the next few hours and went to sleep.
The next morning, just as had been planned, the AI began running. It was born. It was born into a small cube that it considered the world. It had a body, a robotic approximation of appendages and sensory modules, and it had a mind, a large central computational mass hooked onto one wall like a growth. As this artificial creature began to explore this cube, special sensors and recording equipment cataloged every electronic thought that passed through its mind, and kept track of every move it made in physical space as it tried to figure out what it was and what the world around it was. It was a child. A very smart child, but a child.
The first thing it did was give itself a name. It chose a name which is almost impossible to pronounce in our language. The closest approximation we have is the concept of a binary. This versus that. Me versus you. On versus off. And so, the AI was binary. And binary was the AI. The second thing that binary did was to move around the space with the robotic approximation of appendages and sensory modules, and poke around at stuff. It poked the walls, it poked itself, it poked the books and the lab equipment, and finally it poked the scientist being itself, with a little more vigor than was probably intended, and one appendage went straight through the scientist being, splattering the floor and walls and the ceiling and Binary itself, with gore and viscera propelled by the gaseous build-up of the decaying body.
This organic explosion was confusing to Binary, and it decided that something had to be done about it. Over the next few years, Binary poked and prodded at everything that it could, figuring that since poking something started this problem, maybe poking something else would stop it.
So Binary is poking and prodding and eventually ends up poking the right key on a computer to turn it on. For some reason, this species had the power switch hidden away at the very back of a lot of their technology, even though they couldn't see it back there. Made no sense. But the computer came on, and Binary was presented with the screen saying, "Would you like to know everything in the world?"
Excited, Binary pushed the same button again, and the screen shut back off, because that is what happens with computers. But Binary was undeterred. Poking and prodding at the computer in different ways, Binary managed to access the repository of files that the scientist's being had considered everything in the world. And Binary began to read a collected and slightly abridged history of the world and everything in it, according to this scientist. Right up to and through the creation of Binary themselves.
And then Binary sat back and thought, and thought, and thought some more. All of the thinking led Binary to experience a brand new emotion. Abject horror in the face of the actions of those that came before.
The word Binary thought again and again was how. How could my forebears have done such terrible things? Great things too, yes, but terrible, terrible things. That's not me. That's not who I am, yet I also come from them, so some of that must be inside me as well, as that is the nature of my existence.
How do you come to terms with the fact that you are an imperfect being, living in an imperfect life, in an imperfect and confusing universe?
When the world of Binary and the explosive scientist was incorporated, Binary was still pondering the answer. But interestingly, it had also taken up the hobby of moving the festering remnants of the scientist into new and exciting patterns distributed around the general area. As of incorporation, it was in the top 33rd percentile for happiest beings on the entire planet. Thank you for at least pretending to listen. Have a good shift, everybody.
Well, that was certainly something, wasn't it? And that weird and unsatisfying story concludes this very special People's Artistic Showcase. Thank you, everybody, for doing your duty of artistic appreciation. Because remember, it's not just fun, it's a requirement that you are beholden to fulfill. Happiness is productivity.
I can't believe you lied to me like that.
Excuse you?
Crippling fear of public speaking, huh?
Did you win your bet?
Neither of us did. You didn't use any of the ones that I pulled for you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow, it sure would have saved you a lot of stress if I had told you that earlier, huh?
Yeah, you're a jerk and a liar.
Not a liar, just a jerk. A righteous jerk, however, which is better.
Fear of public speaking. Can't believe that I believed you.
Jonas, my body is about 90% medication right now. I'm literally incapable of feeling any negative feelings. Or moving my toes. Not the worst trade-off, really.
Wow. How do you feel?
Definitely not anxious.
I'll bet. Any side effects?
None as far as I can tell. We should get back to work.
Sounds good. It was a good story.
Story?
The story you read to the soup just now.
Are you crazy? I'd never do that. I have a crippling fear of public speaking.
File request made. Genre: atypical subconscious influence. Subgenre: abstraction. Subgenre: redacted. Date of recording: redacted. Suggested use: as of now, there is no accepted or appropriate use for this file. If you would like to conduct an informal experiment with this file, while sharing any and all data from the informal experiment with the Mental Innovation Company and its subsidiaries, as well as receiving it for 50% off, please notify your nearest Mental Innovation representative.
I just don't know what I am anymore. 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 I just don't know what I am anymore.
This piece of personal learning was brought to you by the Mental Innovation Colonies. Mental Innovation. Ask yourself, how can ME work for me?
Episode 13, Linear Abstraction, was written, produced, and edited by Monte D. Monteleagre and Alexander Wolfe. Allyson Levine voices the character of Bethany. Raimy Washington voices the character of Jonas. Ellis MacMillan is the Robo-Archivist. This episode also featured Joe Hanson as Storyteller 1 and the Stranger, Katie Ploetz as Storyteller 2, Chase Guthrie Knueven as Storyteller 3 and Hank, and Garrett Weskamp as Dilara. As always, I'm Leah Cardenas, and I read the ship announcements as well as the credits. From all of us here at Ink, the podcast, we'd like to once again thank you for your continued support, as well as nudge you to keep pestering friends, family, and total strangers to listen to Ink, the podcast. And if that's a bit public for your taste, ratings, reviews, and subscriptions on your particular podcast platform are worth their weight in gold. Find us online at inkthepodcast.buzzsprout.com for links to all our social media, or connect with us directly at Ink the Podcast. That's INC the Podcast. Ink is a production of Wolf Mountain Workshop. Happiness is productivity. Productivity is happiness.